Welcome to Mo's World, the baseball podcast. We're excited to bring you our latest episode. Your feedback is important to us, so please feel free to share your comments. Awesome. If you enjoy the podcast, spread the word to your friends. In our 27th episode of Season 2, we're going to talk about swing speed. And does it really mean anything? Now, come on. We've got tons of data on the swing of hitters. Slow and short swings, swings that accelerate quickly, swings that accelerate much slower. Let's take a look at some swings of popular players as per the algorithms and recordings of swing speed. Now, top of the charts, let's start with Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, and Yordan Alvarez. Because these hitters have something in common. They're all very efficient to the ball and have a high bat speed. And that makes it possible to hit pitches that are out in front for power, but this is the type of swing that's also responsible for a higher K rate as well. Now, the swing patterns of a Juan, Soto, Bobby Witt Jr., and Gunnar Henderson, that's the type of swing for consistency and efficiency. Making this kind of a swing is from a more complete hitter that can hit for both average and power. Hitters in this group, when they tend to struggle, it's almost like they just lose the feeling. They're just lost, Now, we also have a group of, let's put Kyle Tucker and Christian Yelich together. Now, these two probably have what we would have to consider average bat speed, swing length, swing acceleration, and about contact. They're about average. The hitters who find success here are generally good at, getting up to speed quick and pulling the ball. And that's what these two guys do real good. Now, if you got a swing like Steven Juan or Mookie Betts, hitters as these two have a bit slower to average bat speed, but they're also very efficient. They find success in bat-to-ball skills, and they may struggle with a pitching style that attacks them a little bit more. Now, the guys in this group, let's just put Jose Altuve, Cody Bellinger, and Marcus Semien. Put those guys together. Now, that's a group that, they're good hitters, right? And they find success by elevating the ball or pulling it. That's due to the point of contact that's well in front of the plate. And that's what they all have in common. Now, when they struggle, they probably do so because of a long swing path, But, looking at the list, if we're just looking at average bat speed, the top 10 doesn't really surprise me. I mean, it's guys that you've heard about. It's guys that you recognize. O'Neal Cruz of the Pirates has an average bat speed. Now, this is what we're talking about here. This is the average bat speed of 78.5. So he leads in the major leagues. Junior Caminero of the Rays is at 78. Joe Adele at 77.6. Aaron Judge at 76.9. Kyle Schwarber is fifth on the list at 76.9. Vladimir Guerrero is sixth on the list at 76.6. And then we have Wilson Contreras at 76.2. There's not much dividing these guys, right? They're all close. Shohei Ohtani is eighth in the majors at 76.1. Pete Alonso of the Mets at 76, and he's tied with James Wood at number 10 on the list at 76 as well. So, I don't know, that's pretty impressive average bat speed, and they vary in their results, right? Now, the thing that's interesting are the ones on the bottom of this list, Now, that's the ones now, this is when you got to wonder about this whole stat. So who has the slowest swing speed? You're going to recognize a lot of these players, right? I'm just going to read off the top 10 from the worst swing speed is first. So at 62.6 swing speed is Luis Arias. And then we've got Stephen Kwan at 63.5. Jacob Wilson at 63.7. Nick Allen of the Braves at 64.4. Adam Frazier, 65.7. Wilmer Flores at 65.7. Hey, we've got IKF, Isaiah Kinefalafa at 66.3. I mean, so they have the slowest bat speed, right? So what does it all mean? Pretty much jack shit, basically, right? I mean, this is a case where data and stats like this can really fuck up a hitter. Luis Arias, for instance. Do you really think he gives a shit about his swing speed of 62.6? Yet he squares up the ball at a rate of 44.6, leading the major leagues. Jacob Wilson of the A's, he's currently sitting second in average behind Aaron Judge at 323. And he has a swing speed of 63.7. But he also squares up the ball 39.3% of the time. Stephen Kwan, these are all good contact hitters. Of the Guardians, he's hitting 285 with a swing speed of 63.5. But he squares it up 37.9% of the time. That would make these three leaders in squaring up the ball. Yet their so-called swing speeds are on the lowest tier of Major League Baseball. I don't know, kind of makes sense to me. These guys are known to put the ball in play and make contact. Now, for a team to be successful with their lineup, teams must have at least two of these kind of hitters in their lineup who play along with these rules. Teams gotta have the table setters for the big guys. Now, on the opposite plane, we have O'Neal Cruz of the Pirates. He's only hitting 214, but he leads Major League Baseball with a swing speed of 78.5. The results of that, though, he only squares up the ball 22% of the time. Things that make you go, Junior Caminero of the Rays, he's hitting 259 currently, and he has a swing speed of 78. Now, he squares up the ball 22.3% of the time. And out west, we've got Joe Adell of the Angels. He is at 243 with a swing speed of 77.6. And he squares up the ball only 19.6% of the time. Now, these obviously are the extremes of bat speed and squaring the ball up. Pretty drastic, in my opinion. Now, these are the power guys in the lineup, but they lack the consistency to be a stable force. They are what's known as the dangerous player. Now, most teams have 2 to 3 of these type hitters in their lineup. So, how do the best players stand using this data to assess them? Okay, let's look at the Blue Jays, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Now, he's currently hitting 278. He's got a swing speed of 76.6, and he squares up the ball 30.1% of the time. Now you're saying that's more like it, right? Okay, with him, we can lump Shohei Ohtani of the Dodgers. He's hitting .275 with a swing speed of 76.1, and he squares up the ball 25.6% of the time. Now, of course, we got to add and talk about Aaron Judge of the Yankees. He's leading the majors with a .352 average, and he has a swing speed of 76.9 and squares up the ball 22.3% of the time. Pretty similar group of hitters here, right? So the difference of having a premier player who squares up the ball better than most and is a reliable RBI machine is about 3.5% better at squaring up the ball. Wow, that sounds so minimal to go from a Joe Adele to an Aaron Judge, who's the leading candidate for MVP. Now, how many of these players do you have in the lineup? Probably just one of these, and that's why he's the star of the team. That kind of accounts for 6 of the 9 hitters in the lineup on what kind of defined swing they bring to the table. The other 3 in the lineup, that could be undefined. Maybe it's players coming off injury looking to reestablish themselves, or that rookie player who has the dreaded word potential, or someone with just not enough data where we can get a feel for his swing yet. So if we kind of look at this, we can see how the type of player who squares up the ball creates the more consistent producing lineup. Would this help explain the offensive year of the Cubs? Maybe. When you see Suzuki, Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, Ian Happ, Dansby Swanson, Michael Busch, and Nico Horner all in the top, they're all over 30.4% squared up contact rate. That's 7 of 9 hitters in the lineup. But how do the Atlanta Braves compare to that, who've been inconsistent all year and they've struggled for results? Now, the Braves have 3 players over the 30% squared up rate. But even that is misleading, because 2 of those players, Ozzie Albies and Nick Allen, are over 30% squared up. But both those players have had underperforming years, and both players have not been table setters or run producers. So does this stat make you say that it's a definitive statement about swing speed and squaring up rates? Seriously, I'd have to say no. This is just a glorified stat that looks good to say what the swing speed is and what the squaring up percentage is, but it really doesn't have enough of an impact to explain why the team performs as it does. So I guess, as far as shooting down myths, this was our own Mythbuster. So we'd have to say that swing speed is not a definitive statement on performance. Oh well, sorry to break the bubble on that one. Now, what do we got coming up? We've got the trade deadline coming up. After the All-Star break, it seems we all get concerned if our teams will be buyers or sellers at the trade deadline. It's tough to try and figure out what some teams do. But I'm intrigued over what the Orioles will do. They seem to be playing better of late, but I think it's the classic statement of too little, too late. They are, floating around 13 games behind the now entrenched leader, the Blue Jays. Now the Orioles could be buyers and sellers, and I'm thinking the same thing about the Braves. Just because this year is shit and it's shot, I don't think the Orioles or the Braves are ready to blow up the team. Not at all, not in the least. And let me ask you guys something. When you go to a game or when you're watching TV, and have you noticed one thing? Is it just me, or has stadium advertising absolutely peaked? Now, I'm talking about the advertising on the outfield walls, the ones in play, not behind in the stands, the ones on the outfield walls. Lately, I find myself, I'm trying to look for the old feet signs that used to be printed on the wall, saying 327 down the line or, 406 in center. It's like, where are they? I can't find them anymore. Especially if I'm watching a Yankee game in Yankee Stadium. The outfield walls are so blasted with advertising, I can't see the wall stating distance anymore. To me, Yankee Stadium is over the top. It looks like a carnival display. Check it out when you can, and let me know if you've noticed your team's advertising on the walls increased as well. I just find it all a bit over the top. Oh well. So I think this wraps up today's podcast. I want to thank you for joining us for the 27th episode of Season 2 of Mo's World, the Baseball Podcast. Our regular schedule for new episodes is every Friday, with each episode lasting approximately 20 minutes. We appreciate your support and encourage you to share the podcast with your friends. Our next episode will be released on Friday, August 1st, and we look forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, ask yourself, whose world is it? It's Mo's World.